I just want to see the whole thing. I'm not here to like watch part 1 and then wait another 1 or 2 years to watch part 2, but I guess that's where I'm at now. And I'm kind of mad about it, but at the same time, I really liked this movie. Okay, I really liked it, even though I don't like musicals and I didn't like The Wizard of Oz. The thing about Wicked was it kind of changed my outlook on the Oz world, whatever you call it. Emerald City. It's not even just Emerald City. There's like multiple parts of this land. There's like this huge map. I mean, even the musical doesn't cover everything that's in the books. I haven't read the books, but I'm hearing that these books are very expansive, very disturbing, very dark, very different from the musical. I don't know if I want to get into that, but the musical, this movie, changed the way I look at this world, and now it's like pretty interesting. It's kind of magical. It's not as creepy as I thought in the musical. In the musical, it's not. Okay, maybe in the books it's really creepy, but this movie was very bright, whimsical, it was colorful, and the music was great. I liked the songs and I liked this movie, but there was a little bit too much music. Okay, I'm like contradicting myself. I'm like, I like the songs, but there was a little bit too much. Let me know if you're a fan of musicals and you still thought there was too much music in this, or if it was just the right amount, because I don't know if I'm just complaining about the amount of singing in this because I'm not a fan of musicals, or because this movie really just overdid the musical numbers, because I like the story. I wanted to go deeper into the themes explored in this movie, but they just included a bit too many songs. And this movie is a long movie. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I didn't feel it when they were actually telling the story, but the singing parts, I'm just like, oh no, another song. I liked it because the vocals were great. The acting was great. I think everyone did a great job. There was a lot of choreography too, even though it's good. I think the movie would have been better as a movie if they spent that time, instead of singing and dancing, to actually go into depth with the story and the themes. The whole theme of Wicked. Okay, there's a lot of themes, but the main theme is the question of whether people are born wicked or if they have wickedness thrust upon them. I feel like I know the answer, but I don't know the answer. Can you be born wicked? Can you be born anything? Usually people are just born like a blank slate, right? I don't want to give a summary of this movie because I'm sure you're here because you've either seen the movie or you know the story. This whole movie is about the backstory of the Wicked Witch of the West. I didn't even know Wicked was like a different story. The guy who originally wrote The Wonderful Wizard of Oz is not the guy who wrote Wicked. Wicked came decades later, written by another guy, and he wrote like several books expanding on this world. This one is more like a prequel. It's telling the story, the life and times of the Wicked Witch of the West, because we know in The Wizard of Oz, she's like the main villain. She's kind of the main villain. I don't know. I don't remember the story, but I know Dorothy was trying to get home. But I know the Wizard of Oz himself is kind of a scam. He's a con man. I need to stop making things up. Let's give you a villain backstory, and then you'll know that the world is not black and white. In the beginning, Glinda is doing a voiceover talking about a spilt bucket of water. She was melting. Okay, she melted from the water. That's where it begins, and then it kind of rewinds and we're just telling a story. It's like a bedtime story. We're talking about the Wicked Witch and how she was born green. Her mother had an affair with some guy. Is it trying to say that she was born wicked because she was born out of wedlock, and then that's why she's kind of a wicked thing? Oh, okay, no, that's not what I want to say. That's not what I want to say, but then I also heard that the guy that the mom cheated with is the Wizard of Oz. So I don't know if that's real. That would sort of make sense why there would be the question of if you're born wicked, because maybe she was born with the purpose of punishing the wizard. But I don't know, is it the wizard's fault or is it the mom's fault? That's probably not it. After Wicked Part 1, she's not really wicked. I mean, at least I don't think so. I don't know if she's wicked. See, there's this other theme of whether or not, like, what she's doing is wrong, because she's standing up for what she believes in. So in this whole world, I also didn't know, because Wizard of Oz doesn't talk about this, but in this world, there are animals that talk. But the animals that talk are now being oppressed by the wizard, because in times of hardship, the only way to unite people is to blame another group. So people, instead of fighting amongst themselves, they fight against a common enemy. The wizard is antagonizing these animals that talk. And Elphaba, okay, her name is Elphaba. I keep calling her the Wicked Witch of the West. She's not known as that yet. She is just Elphaba. Her whole life, she's been discriminated against because she's green and people make fun of her and she's an outcast. And Glinda, she's a little spoiled brat and she's really popular, cares a lot about her image. She cares a lot about what people think of her. It's about how in the past they were friends at this school, this magic school, not this magic school, just this university, this very famous university in the Land of Oz called Shiz, and they study a lot of things, but learning magic is apparently a very niche subject in which only some people can learn it if they have the talent for it. But Elphaba was kind of born with magical powers. Yeah, I don't know if this matters for this video. It doesn't. The whole theme I was trying to go into is Elphaba. She actually cares about these animals and she doesn't want them to be oppressed. She grew up as an outcast, so she knows what it's like and she wants to stand up for and defend people or animals, individuals, groups that are being oppressed. She actually gets an opportunity to meet the wizard, and we all know from the original movie that the Wizard of Oz is not a real wizard. He hides behind this mask or this giant face that he uses to scare people or to sort of submit people to his powers that don't exist. He flew over to this Land of Oz on a hot air balloon and then made this whole story up that he's like this powerful person that's gonna save the land from whatever they were suffering from. Sorry, I'm making this up again. I don't know, but he just came. He's like an outsider that just came, okay, and then now he's taken over because he's able to trick people into believing his whatever lies. Con man. And when Elphaba does meet the wizard, she does realize that he's not real. He's not a real wizard, and he's the one oppressing all these animals. The other theme in this is don't meet your heroes, kids. Everyone grows up thinking the wizard is this really amazing man that could fulfill everyone's heart's desires if they go and meet him. Her desire originally as a kid was to not be green. Obviously, she doesn't want to be an outcast. She doesn't want to be green. Everyone makes fun of her for being green, and I'm just like, you got talking animals in this land. Okay, some green person is weird. When she does get there at this point in the movie, she has a change of heart and she's feeling like the oppression of these animals is way more important than her personal desire of fitting in. So she wants that from the wizard, but clearly the whole oppression is because of him. And he just wants to use her. And so when she realizes that, she goes rogue. She doesn't go rogue. She fights for that. Apparently, that makes her evil. She is wicked because she wants to break the system. But from the perspective of her and, basic morals, what she's standing up for is the right thing. So I don't know. I feel like the movie should have gone more in depth into this. Maybe part 2 will. I don't know. I haven't seen the whole musical. I haven't read the books. I don't know, but I feel like this movie should have honed in on that a bit more instead of the singing, even though Defying Gravity was a great song. Defying Gravity. But I'm just like, I really want to know. I really want more from this story. That's what really gets to me. I'm like, they just kind of remade the musical into a movie, but they didn't add anything to it. I didn't know this story was going to be about talking animals. I didn't know it was going to be about oppression. I just thought it was more like a little quarrel Glinda and Elphaba had. They were friends, now they're not friends. I don't know why I thought it was that simple. But yeah, there's a lot of books. The books go into even more depth. I don't know why I'm saying that. I haven't read the books, but that's what I heard. I'm kind of conflicted because I don't know if Glinda is bad. Because I thought she was good. Obviously, when you watch The Wizard of Oz as a kid, you think she's good. And this movie is apparently supposed to say she's not that good, but I'm like, she's not exactly bad either. She's just kind of spoiled. She cares too much about herself and her image and her status, and she follows society. But most people do follow the rules of society and they don't want to go against the status quo. I don't know if that's inherently bad. Maybe it's neutral. Maybe it's bad if what society's doing is bad. I don't know. I think it would have been more interesting if she actually did something bad. Maybe she'll do something in part 2 that backstabs Elphaba, but so far she just seems like she's doing what normal people would do. I don't imagine her ever turning against society. She never breaks out of that. Most people don't break out of that, so I don't know. Can you dock points for people that, it's kind of like if you're a bystander to bullying, you're kind of part of the problem too, but at the same time, actually maybe maybe she is bad. Is she bad? Is she bad because she didn't stand up? But then again, Elphaba standing up for talking animals, is that like a inherently good thing? I guess so. I guess it's unfair. It's unfair. See, but they didn't explain. I'm like, why are talking animals being oppressed and what are they going to do with them? The thing about animals is, even in our society today, they don't have the same rights as humans. But see, in this world, you have a lot of non-humans. You have munchkins. The ethics and morals in this world is probably different, but they don't go into that. I assume the books probably explain a lot of this because I heard there's a lot of religion and politics in this whole story, but obviously the musical is not going to be able to completely capture all of that. That's probably what makes this story so compelling and why it's so famous. If you love musicals, you'll probably love this. If you don't like musicals, you probably won't like this. There's a lot of music, guys. There's a lot of music.